Hello, welcome to the most dangerous podcast. How are you this week, James? It's we've had a little bit of time off.
Yeah, back again. A bit
Yeah,
sporadic at the moment, aren't we? On and off
I
and on
know.
and off. But, it's the way the world works. We're all busy people and got things to do and the sun's shining. So
I know.
that was my excuse this weekend. So, yeah, I'm all right. I told you about my dodgy knee, so I'm sitting at a really funny angle, as you can probably tell.
Yeah,
But apart from that, I'm all good.
we've just become two old men, haven't we?
We have indeed, yeah.
Two old
That's
broken
life.
men.
That's
Do you
time
know?
for you. So what have you got for this week? Us for else? Can't put my teeth in. What do you have for us this week, Fraser?
Well, I did. I said I would do a spooky one. I looked for a spooky one and I stumbled across a mystery. So it's a little bit of a kind of
Okay.
whodunit murder mystery type thing. So unfortunately, it's not
Right.
spooky. So that's your turn next week now.
Yeah, leave that to me. I'm sure I can dig
Yeah.
something out.
So tonight I'm going to tell the story, James, of the Yuba County Five. Have you heard of it?
No, can't say I have.
No? That's good. I always like when you haven't heard of it. It's more interesting then.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll get going. So it was February the 24th, 1978, and it was a chilly Friday night in Northern California. So basically, February, Northern California, you're talking proper snow, you know?
Was it?
It's like, yeah. So if you imagine California, it goes right up to Canada, doesn't it? So
It doesn't go all the way up to Canada, does it? But it goes quite half the way.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it goes quite far north.
Yeah. You got
People
mountains
just
and
think
stuff.
like LA and stuff like that, don't they? But
That's true. Yeah.
so cold, snowy night. Five young men from Yuba City piled into a car to head north for a college basketball game at Chico State. I always want to say Chicago because it looks like it, but it's Chico.
Chicago.
Chico, yeah. So they were friends, almost like brothers. They did everything together, played basketball, watched sports, joked about, and they called themselves the Boys.
The Boys, like the TV
Original
program.
name. Yeah. So they were excited, not just because they were going to the game, but the next day they were playing in a basketball tournament of their own. It was part of the Special Olympics, and the top prize was a trip to Los Angeles. They'd all
Special
laid
Olympics.
Special Olympics, yeah.
As in, like, the disabled one.
Disabled, yeah. So
Okay.
these boys, they were men. They all had some form of mental disability.
Does that count?
Actually, I don't know.
Can you get into the
so.
Olympics with that? I thought it was like if you weren't able-bodied.
I suppose able-mind is disabled as well.
I know it's disabled, but I just thought for the Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I will need to look that up. Where is it? So they'd all laid out their uniforms the night before, told their families not to let them oversleep because they didn't want to miss the big game they were playing. They were proud of the team, and it was a big event they'd been really looking forward to. So, in simple, they were going to watch a basketball game in the evening. They were all to come home, get up early, and go and play a basketball tournament the next day.
Got you.
So the five men, Gary Mathias, Ted Weir, Jack Madruga, Bill Sterling, and Jack Hewitt. So Gary Mathias was 25. He was a US Army veteran who had developed schizophrenia and was discharged. He'd struggled in the past with his mental health, occasional psychotic episodes, but for 2 years he'd been stable. He was on medication, and he was actually holding down a job in his stepfather's gardening business. He was smart, social, and charismatic, and he was the most independent of the group, kind of like the leader.
Okay.
So that was Gary Mathias. Ted Weir was 32, with a mild intellectual disability. He was kind-hearted and trusting, could be too trusting. His family once found him inviting strangers into the house for absolutely no reason. Ted
I do
worked
that.
as... Do you?
Go in, mate. Got beers in here. Come on.
Yeah. Come in, put the fucking kids to bed for me. Ted worked as a janitor in a vocational rehabilitation centre and loved basketball more than anything. He would listen to games on the radio with childlike excitement. Jack Madruga was 30. He'd also served in the army, and though he had no formal diagnosis, his family described him as a slow learner. Still, he was fiercely independent. He drove his own car, a 1969 Mercury Montego, which is quite a big American kind of saloon type thing, the old
Okay.
American car. and he took immense pride in it. No one else was allowed to drive it, not even Gary. So he was obviously the leader, but he wasn't allowed to drive this guy's car.
Yeah. You know, my God.
Bill Sterling, 29, he also had schizophrenia and an intellectual disability. He was quiet, deeply religious, and best friends with Ted. The two were inseparable.
It's nice that they all found each other, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's like they all looked out for each other. They were the boys, weren't they?
Yeah. That's pretty cool. You know, nice little friend group.
So lastly, there was Jack Hewitt, just 24. He had a moderate intellectual disability and was shy and gentle. His family described him as affectionate and childlike. He also worked at the same centre as Ted and Bill. So they all kind of found these like janitor jobs, and they were all working.
To know each other.
Yeah. So the five men, they were not reckless. They lived quiet lives, mostly at home or at their day programme. They depended on structure, routine, and each other. That night, after watching the basketball game, so they'd gone to the game, they stopped at a convenience store in Chico around 10 p.m. They bought snacks, hostess pies, chocolate bars, soft drinks, and milk. They were laughing, enjoying themselves, and looking forward to their own game the next day. But they never came home.
Did they not? It's crap basketball, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fucking crap. It's just so stupid. Like, just back and forth, and it's like, what is the point?
I know. Do you remember Chester Jets?
Yeah, I went to see him, I think.
Well, they died. They went out of business, and then they started Cheshire Phoenix. Obviously, right. Phoenix from the Flames. And they're actually really good. They won the British National League last year, the year before.
That. Oh, yeah.
And they play just round the corner from me in the big Ellesmere Port Sports Village. So we went. We thought, we'll all go and support them. I think we got free tickets from school or something, didn't we?
Yeah, used to get them in the street. The big fella used to play for Chester Jets, like Alan or something.
Alan, it was, yeah, big Alan.
Used to just hand them out.
But these are all American guys, big American guys. All right, man. Stuff like that. So we went, and I basically worked out that the only bit of a basketball match that matters is the last 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like... It's like 88 to 87, and it's whoever scores the last basket wins.
Bit. Yeah, that's what it seems to be. I actually went to one in Texas.
Oh yeah, wow,
a proper American one. Like NBA. Can't remember the teams were, to be honest. It wasn't anyone massive like the Lakers or anything. But yeah, same shit. Then it goes like 3, 2, 1. Someone throws it from outside the 3-pointer mark. If it goes in, they win. If it don't, the other team wins.
That's it.
That's the end of it.
It's like when you used to play football for an hour at lunchtime. It was like last goal wins.
Yeah. It might as well be that. Just play for an hour and then last goal wins. It doesn't really matter.
But it's all right. It was a good atmosphere and everything. But you think,
couldn't really get into that. But anyway, sure, there's more to it than I know. I'm sure there's tactics and things, and
they'll have a timeout with like 4 seconds to go.
Yeah,
they'll have like a 10-minute timeout with a board drawing. Like it's 4 seconds. You
swap people over, but there's it seems to be, if you're really tall, then you're probably going to be the best player. There's like a guy in like the NBA. I'm sure he's like 7'8" or something.
Is that
ridiculous.
the big Chinese lad?
I don't think he's Chinese. Like he's just fucking huge. It might be French, actually.
Is he French?
It might be, but he's fucking massive, and basically he's just the best player because no one can stop him. He's just massive.
Just hold the ball up. You try and get it.
Exactly.
Anyway, back to this sinister story of these poor five guys.
How are you?
So the next morning, none of them showed up to their basketball tournament. Obviously, their families immediately raised the alarm, with them all having, obviously, mental difficulties as well. It was a little bit more concerning because routine, they're not like five guys that would spontaneously go and do something.
Yeah.
These weren't men who disappeared without reason. They didn't drink, they didn't party, they didn't have girlfriends, late night adventures, so obviously something was wrong. So 4 days later, the first clue surfaced. A forest.
Hang on, I missed a bit here.
Yeah.
So they went home after the basketball match.
No, they never went home.
Oh, right. So they left the basketball match, but then no one knows what happened.
Yes, they left the basketball match. They were last seen in the convenience store where they bought all the snacks.
Right. All the snacks and the stuff. Right.
And then disappeared.
Right, got you.
So a forest ranger found Jack Madruga's Mercury Montego big car abandoned on a rough dirt road in the Plumas National Forest up the Sierra Nevada mountains. So it was 70 miles away from Chico.
So in the opposite direction.
Yeah. So instead of going home, they'd gone like 70 miles up into the woodlands, thick snow. It was way off any sensible route. The car was found at an elevation of 4,400 feet, so way up in a mountain.
Yeah.
And it was near a remote logging area called Rogers Cow Camp. The car wasn't stuck. The tyres had...
It's got some names, haven't they? Rogers Cow Camp. Just tell it what it. Just say what it is. What is it? Well, it's Cow Camp, and who owns it? Roger. It's Rogers Cow Camp.
One of my favourite vans that I see in Wilms was a fish company, and it's called My Fish Company. Imagine, what do you want to call it? Just My Fish Company. You know?
Can't be arsed thinking of anything.
Yeah, My fucking Fish Company. Where was I? So the car wasn't stuck. The tyres had spun a little bit in the snow, but not enough to be immobile. It had a quarter of a tank of, I want to say petrol, not gas.
Gas.
Yeah. The battery was still fine. When the police hotwired it, it just started up absolutely fine, ran. So it hadn't run out of petrol or broken down or anything. Inside were the snack wrappers and the cartons from, they got from the shop that evening.
So they had a scrounge in the car then?
Yeah. I believe, actually, it said that I read another version of this and they'd eaten everything apart from one Snickers. It has absolutely no relevance, but...
Yeah, they're not great though, are they, Snickers?
No, I know. They sort of left that till the end and got full.
Yeah, I can't really save that one. They want
that. There was no signs of foul play, but no signs of the men. So obviously, why would they drive into the mountains in the dead of night, especially with no jackets, no camping gear, and no reason whatsoever?
Yeah.
So search teams scoured the area for weeks. Helicopters, dogs, volunteers. But the snow was so deep, the forest was so vast, not a trace was found. Then in June, so this is 4 months later, when the snow started to melt, a group of motorcyclists exploring a remote area near Bucks Lake came across a deserted US Forest Service trailer. So this was like what they call a trailer in America, like a big caravan.
Yeah.
And it was one that was set up for a forest worker to basically, if he was working the forest for a period of weeks, live in.
Okay, yeah.
So it was stocked with food and bedding and stuff like that. Where was I? So this was about 20 miles from where the car had been abandoned, and it was high in the woods. Inside the trailer was a horrifying sight. Lying on a bed, tucked neatly under 8 wool military blankets, was the body of Ted Weir. His feet were severely frostbitten, and he had a full beard, indicating he'd been alive for quite a while.
Yeah.
Autopsy suggested he'd lived up to 13 weeks after the night they disappeared, but he'd starved to death. There were no injuries, no signs of violence.
Okay.
What's quite horrible about this, it says they reckon that he lived 13 weeks after the night he disappeared, going by like his beard and how long he'd been dead for and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's 3 months or so, isn't it? Just over.
So they'd found him probably just after he died.
Yeah.
They'd have found him a couple of weeks earlier. He might still have been alive.
Yeah.
So the strangest part was the trailer was stocked in a storage locker. There were military rations, there was canned food, dehydrated meals, enough to actually have fed all 5 of them for the 3 or 4 months.
Shit. Right.
Between him finding the trailer and obviously dying.
Yeah.
There was a propane tank connected to a heating system that would have worked. They could have just switched the heater on, but it had never been used. Matches were found, there were clothes, supplies, but absolutely none of it had been used. He was just dead under 8 blankets, but had been alive for 13 weeks and starved to death.
Yeah, that's weird. Starved as well. But there's loads of food there. He's starved. Under 8 blankets. 8 blankets is like quite a lot of blankets. You know, you'd be surprised. Like, you probably wouldn't freeze to death under 8 blankets, would you? Even if it is minus kind of 10 or whatever.
read that the way he was tucked in with these blankets, he couldn't have done himself.
Oh, okay.
So he was like, like you swaddle a baby.
Yeah, so
But you don't anymore. I can't remember. They keep changing the rules, what you do with a baby at night. You used to swaddle them.
Yeah.
2 days later, the search team found more bodies. Roughly 11 miles from the car, scattered near the dirt road, were the remains of Jack Madruga. He was the leader guy, wasn't he? Should remember this. No, that was Gary Mathias. I had all this read for last Friday and I haven't looked at it again since.
Yeah.
Jack Madruga and Bill Sterling both had succumbed to the elements. They just frozen to death.
Yeah.
Jack's body was largely intact, though partially scavenged by animals. Bill's remains were little more than bones. Jack still had his car keys in his pocket.
Weird.
So he'd just gone for a walk, frozen to death. Just strange, isn't it?
Yeah, why?
The next thing they found was Jack Hewitt, or rather they found his spine, about 2 miles from the trailer near a stream. His body had been dragged by animals, scattered under a bush. A few items of clothing nearby helped them to confirm his identity.
Yeah.
So that only left Gary Mathias, who was the leader one.
Yeah.
His shoes were found inside the trailer, suggesting he'd been there, but his body had never been recovered. But the guy that was found in the trailer, his shoes were missing.
Right. Okay.
So they reckon this Gary had taken his own shoes off and put his mate's shoes on and then
jibbed.
Authorities searched surrounding areas, rivers, creeks, caves, and old mine shafts. No trace of Gary has ever been found.
Never found Gary.
Never found him.
That's weird then, isn't it?
So what happened? So they reckon one of the obvious theories is maybe they just got lost, took a wrong turn after the game, ended up in the mountains, panicked, got stuck, and tried to walk for help. But
yeah,
you wouldn't get lost 70 miles, would you? You'd drive a bit and you go.
Given who they were, they might not have and their disabilities, their sort of rational thinking might not be the same as the average person, should we say?
True, yeah.
So it's a possibility.
But that theory, they say, falls apart because Jack Madruga, they reckon, knew the area quite well. He never let anyone else drive his car. He also hated the colds. Why would he drive 70 miles in the wrong direction into deep snow and rough terrain?
Yeah.
But like you said, they haven't got the same sort of rational thinking, given some of their disabilities. But
yeah. I mean, I don't know much about stuff like that, but I would have thought perhaps it hinders your kind of rational thought, and you think, it's just round here, we'll just we'll keep going and we'll turn around, or something like that.
The other one that kind of pours water on that was that basically there was nothing wrong with the car, so they could have got lost and thought, you know what, we'll just hang about the car till the next morning, till the sun comes up.
Yeah,
we can see where we're going, start the engine, and we'll drive on again.
Yeah.
There's the theory that Gary and Mathias had a psychotic episode, maybe convinced them to flee into the woods. But if so, why did the others follow? Why would they leave the car in freezing conditions? Especially people with known intellectual disabilities who thrived on routine and feared uncertainty. And if Gary survived, where did he go?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe one of them did have an episode and just he got lost, panicked, just bolted out of the car. And then all the others just kind of scattered and looked for him and got lost. And
especially with him being the leader type, they might just look to him for direction.
Yeah.
And if he's not there, they think, well, we'll just wait for him. He must come back. We'll hang about. We'll go for a walk and look for him.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it's any sort of murder thing, does it? It just sounds like it's some sort of tragic accident.
None of them have actually had any signs of being murdered. They've been eaten by animals, but probably after they were dead.
Yeah. Ooh.
Scavenged. The there's obviously something unsettling about the condition Ted was found in. He was wrapped in blankets, tucked in like a child, like I said. His body was clean. There was no sign of struggle. It's almost as if someone actually cared for him before leaving. But why didn't he eat? Why didn't he put the heating on?
Yeah,
You know?
well, it sounds like that Gary fellow was there, doesn't it? If his shoes were there.
Yeah. Just was he just waiting for help that never came?
Yeah, a lot of food as well. I mean, that'd be great. That'd be a nice little couple of months in the woods. Don't have to bother with anyone.
I know. It would be good. It's like, doesn't he do that in Breaking Bad towards the end? He just goes and lives up in the wilderness, doesn't he?
I've not seen it for years, maybe possibly. I don't know.
I'm sure they like hide him up in like a cabin or something, and at the end he thinks, "Oh fuck this! I'm just gonna go back and cause a little bit more havoc." And then there's a potential witness. On the night they vanished, a man named Joseph Shones was on that same logging road, about 50 miles from where they were supposed to be. His car got stuck in the snow, and whilst trying to dig it out, he suffered a mild heart attack. Lying in pain, he claimed to have seen the headlights and flashlights and several people walking nearby. He shouted for help, but they didn't respond.
All right.
So that's also never been explained. Obviously, he had a mild heart attack. He didn't die, so he told the story.
Yeah. That's the worst place to have a heart attack, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shit.
It's only mild, just a minor inconvenient heart attack. So the other thing, some speculate the group encountered someone that night, someone who frightened them or forced them off the road. There were rumours of meth labs in the forest, illegal poachers who might have seen them and threatened them, and again.
Yeah, I don't know. A bit more evidence.
But yeah, so we basically may never know. Gary Mathias remains missing. There's never been any bank activity, no fingerprints, no confirmed sightings. As if he's just vanished into thin air.
Well, I think he's probably dead. To be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's been no bank activity or anything,
the likelihood is if one of them all they found was his spine.
Well, exactly. Yeah, he might, because he was the leader. He might have been like, "I'll go out and look for help."
Yeah, he could have been just scrammed by some wolves or something.
Yeah, or maybe the guy that died in the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
He'd like panicked and thought, "Oh no, like I need to go and get help," or I'm in loads of shit and just bolted and just that's it, never to be seen or heard of again.
Aye. But that's it. That's the story of the Yuba County Five.
That's pretty
weird, isn't it?
It's a bit weird, yeah. It's a big place, isn't it, America? Yeah. Things like that happen. You can just go missing. And like the forests and woods and stuff, they're not like we've got like forests larger than Britain.
Yeah,
so it's like
I know.
If you get lost in one of them, it is curtains,
Yeah. I mean, we go to like the woods by us. When you enter one side of the woods, you can see the exit the other side of the woods.
yeah. See the cars going past.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Even like Delamere Forest, you'd class as a big forest round here. It's just.
I mean, they're pretty big. I mean, like Sherwood Forest and stuff. They're big forests. Yeah. But if you walk in a straight line, for a day and a half, you're probably going to get out of it. You'll get to the other side, maybe 2 days, if that. Whereas, in America, you're done for. And you can't even see you if you're lost in the forest because the shrubbery.
Yeah. Also, it was like feet deep in snow.
Yeah. So,
it's like in Britain, you're only like 20 miles from a petrol station at the worst case scenario. In Canada, you can be 200 miles between petrol stations.
So,
and like Australia, in like the bush that we talked about, we were doing like Australia, it can be like 400 miles to the next rest stop and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just
like be well stocked.
Well stocked up, yeah. You can't just go for a drive, can you?
No,
You've got to have like backup fuel in your car and stuff. Anyway, going off tangent there.
Yeah, the kids, can we stop at this service station? We'll stop at the next one. 100 miles later.
400.
Starving in the back.
I need the toilet.
That used to piss my dad off more than anything, needing a wee on the way up to Scotland.
It is annoying though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, once you're the driver, yeah.
Yeah, when you're in the zone, you think, right, I can get this done in like 3.5 hours if I put my foot down. And then they're going, oh, can we stop? I need the toilet. Can I get a Burger King? No.
I stay in the car, go to the toilet, back out, the engine's fucking running, go on. And then 5 minutes later, I need a piss. Oh,
yeah. I think like if you do get out and you end up spending like an hour in the services,
it's mental, isn't it?
Let's have a look around WH Smith. What, mate?
Yeah. Buy things that are 5 times more expensive than they are in a normal shop.
Yeah.
So anyway, James, that was the Yuba County 5. Have you got any thoughts on it?
Just that it's very, very weird.
Yeah.
Like I said, my thoughts are that somebody's had an episode or something. I think, given that the disabilities, the people that they were, I think the most likely thing is like one of them's just had a turn.
Yeah.
Something's gone wrong, and then they've all kind of just panicked and not really known what to do in that situation. Just like you say, because of their sort of rational thought, thinking it's perhaps not what it would be if they didn't have the disabilities. So I think that's probably what's happened there. I think the guy that was in the cabin probably just wandered too far and just ended up finding it by mistake and just stayed there. As for this Gary fella, again, I think that the other chap's died. He's perhaps panicked or gone to look for help. Maybe he was ill or something. So yeah, I don't think it's anything too sinister apart from the fact that loads of people, how many, 5, 6 people died?
5, yeah.
Losing the name. So yeah, very, very odd, but I think it's just a tragic set of circumstances, to be honest.
What I took from it, the first time I read it, I thought, oh, that's really weird. And the second time, I'm going, oh, that's a bit of a mystery. And then when I sort of really started to think about it, I thought it's just really fucking sad. Because these are 5 guys, obviously with their own difficulties, but completely harmless people that,
having a good time, just had been to see the basketball.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the game the next day and all that, and then this is struck. So
it doesn't sound like any of them had a very pleasant death. I
wouldn't have thought so. No, freezing to death. It's not something I'd like to do.
Yeah. So anyway, James, that was the Yuba County 5. So we'll be back again in a couple of days, aren't we?
Yeah, Friday. We'll try and stick to our Friday schedule.
Yeah,
depending on the weather, obviously.
Do you mean if you go to a barbecue and refuse to leave again?
Yeah, that might be one of them. Well, I was just having a good time,
Gotta make the most of it.
Saturday I didn't feel too well, so just one of them. So I think it's going to be crap weather on Friday, so we'll be back then.
Definitely on, yes.
Cool.
All right, we'll see you all next week. Thanks, James.
Right. Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. Take care.
Speak soon. Bye-bye.